Good morning! It's drive time with Dave. I'm Dave. I'll be your driver today. Take a ride with me. This morning's episode is, Dave, you've said a whole lot of stuff that we can't verify. So Dave had to say, well dang, I guess I better double check myself. I better make sure if I'm saying something that it makes sense. So I had to go back and I realized I've had two comments about, I made a statement about eBay listings and promotions. So, like about, everything I say, some of the stuff I'm talking about where I'm at. And I don't think about, well, where you're at, and that you may or may not be able to do that. Well, my store is I don't know what it's called. I had to verify it. I don't know what it's called. But with that store, I get to do all this stuff. Like my say for example, my listing fees, the standard listing fees. I don't know. I just kind of glance over these numbers, guys. So here we are. I still don't know what I'm talking about, but I got a pretty good idea. So standard listing fees, let's say it's 30 cents or something. My listing fees are 17 cents. So whatever my store level is, it's called, I don't know, Super Fragile College, XBL, I'm drunk store. I don't know what it's called. But that's the reason that I have this. And when you get to a certain store level with enough items, right? There's some perks and benefits that they give you. Because there's a balance. Say, my fees and your fees may be very close to the same. Because until you get to that level where it becomes a volume of fees, so my fees are technically less than yours by a wide margin, but our fees are actually the same because it comes out the same in the end to them. So they take a small reseller with 1,000 items, and they take a reseller of my size with, let's say, 10,000 items. It comes out the same, which is really nice for them, not so nice for you. Also, speaking about, when I don't know what I'm talking about. That's going to be the topic of today's conversation, is I don't know what I'm talking about. The question about hiring someone smarter than me has come back up. Quite a few emails, clarification. Well, if they're smarter than you, why are they working for you? Well, I didn't really expand on it. I kind of touch on these topics because some of this stuff is very, very important when you get to that point. Till you get to that point, it won't really make any sense. So I just kind of touch on, overall growth and structure and performance-based systems and procedure-based systems and how everything's going to work and comes together and it becomes a team, and your team is your team, and your team has layers of workers and managers and then the smart people. Now, I just use that term loosely. So basically what it means is when I hire someone smarter than me, so across the board, I know a lot about a lot. The jack of all trades. But the one thing that I knew way back, I know enough, the term is I know enough to be dangerous. So once I got to a certain point, I go out and I'm terrible at bookkeeping. I understand bookkeeping quite well. But for me to sit and do it all day long, no. So I'm going to go and I'm going to hire the very smartest accountant I can. Because they're going to understand little nuances that I may not understand fully. Major pieces of tax code. Where I can take depreciation on items. where I can take write-offs. That would mean I'd have to be an expert in accounting. I'd have to be an expert in material handling. I'd have to be an expert in inventory control. I'm not an expert in any of those things. So once my inventory got big enough, I had to hire a guy that was an expert in inventory control. Now, is there such a thing? He showed up and he told me he was. And he's done a very good job. So I don't doubt it. I don't have to question him. Once I see the next set of problems come along, whether it's with him or accounting or whatever the operational point may be, that I need to resolve an issue greater than the individual that's responsible, I may have to either replace you or put someone over you. And most of the time, you get a little bit of a buck. You know, that horse starts bucking along, that employee's like, no, Dave, no, it's my job, it's my job. And I have to say, well, so here's the problem. We're to a point now, growth-wise, it's too big for you to handle. Do you agree? And when they don't agree, I have a long list. I pull out my notepad right here. All right, so here's everything that has failed so far. I addressed with you 30 days ago, 60 days ago, 90 days ago, 120 days ago. So for 120 days, we've had the same problems. And you and I have had the same conversation. You're not learning from your mistakes, sir. So, I have no choice but to place someone over top of you. You're very good at what you do. I'm not saying that. You're not very good at things that you don't know. That's the difference. So, I have to know a little bit. That way, if you don't, and you go out and you hire somebody, and they come in and they buffalo you. They're like pulling the wool over you. Whoop, I'm amazing. And I'm like, you are? Oh my goodness. And they actually don't know anything. I think I just made a reference to a bunch of resellers. Oh, sorry. I get confused about what I'm talking about sometimes. I don't mean to keep throwing some jabs out there, but some of the stuff's pretty funny. Anyway, so if you don't know enough about the problem or have a good idea of how it can be solved, when you bring someone in and you sit down and then you talk to them, they're gonna talk a really good game, and they actually can't follow through with any of this stuff. another reseller joke. What is wrong with me this morning? I got some of those emails again last night, and they're actually slightly annoying me. Slightly. So anyway, those are the things that I'm talking about. When you're going to hire someone smarter than you, it's not like you're going to go, okay, I'm going to hire a new CEO. Listen, I would hire someone to come in and run the whole company. Why are those guys available? That is an interesting question. Why are there people available smarter than you? Because running, owning, participating, anything that we call it, that's your own company, it takes an interesting, special individual with a lot of ideas. Ideas are only part of it. Can you take all those ideas and implement them? Put them into place and get them moving. The vehicle to success has 4 wheels. Ideas, people, sales. The 4th wheel better be you. I told that to a guy one time. He goes, no. You got your people. You got your sales. You got your business structure. I'm like, okay. And he goes, and then you got everything else. That's 4, and you're the motor. You just ruined my 4-wheel story, man. He goes, well, I heard it different. So it's now the story is actually 4 wheels and a motor. Well, who's the driver? I am. I'm the driver. And then he laughed and he goes, damn, you got me. I'm like, why, thank you. And he goes, so that means I'm the driver. And I'm like, well, you're maybe waiting to get a DUI. And he laughed. He goes, Yeah, that's probably true. Yeah. Anyway, a big part of success is growing emotionally, financially, psychologically. Right? The difference between emotions and psychologically is understanding everything going on around you, and then that's the first part. And the reason that I say emotionally second or first or either way or doesn't matter. I try to cover myself before somebody that actually has some degree in psychology is like, you don't know what you're talking about. Understanding something is one thing. Then the emotional side is being able to grow into it, accepting it for what it is. So I understand this, and now I've grown into it. So there's no question. I'm whole again. I'm all right there. Somebody's like, oh my God, I did 10,000 in sales, and all the money came in, and I bought a new car. that psychologically is you're bonkers, and emotionally you just went right off the scale. So you were not prepared emotionally for the growth that you just experienced because you didn't handle it very well. Emotionally, you would have said, oh man, this is fantastic. I got all this extra money. That means I can reinvest it into more inventory and grow and grow and grow and grow, and then be prepared to hire people and people smarter than you to do very specific jobs. So I had to throw that back out there again. Okay, so we understand the well-rounded portion of what the business looks like. It will always be up to you as the driver to make sure there's gas in your vehicle, to make sure your tires are good. Tires are, now that you understand, the tires are the employees, the procedures, the policies, the sales, and the customers, right? So sales are one thing. That's an overall view of sales in general, as you're going to do whatever dollars. And then the customer service is, I've said it before, it's a very important key. So let's say it's a tire, and employees are a tire, sales are a tire. And how smoothly everything operates in the middle is a tire, and then you're the driver, and you've got to keep everything together. Because you want to be able to get out there every morning and do it. People also don't understand that when you go from a job and you're the number one, uno, you don't call in sick to yourself. You can call in sick to a job, but you don't call in sick to yourself. You need to be really, really, really sick before you don't get up and you don't go to work. Because I'll tell you what, I've been plenty sick, and I managed to go out and source material, and I've managed to get to work. And everybody's like, oh my gosh, you're so sick. You should be at home. But if I was at home, I wouldn't know what you're doing. And you wouldn't know I was so sick. No one else is ever going to care like you do. So even if I hired someone to run my company, they're not ever going to care like I do. They may care a lot. They're going to care about the success because they care about their own success. And you'll know when you meet somebody that cares about their own success, you can just feel it in talking to them. And when they are not clear on what that success is, you also know it. You can listen to everything they say, and when it doesn't paint a beautiful picture, when that puzzle doesn't fit together and their piece is missing, you can see that this individual is not whole and complete, and that they're just talking out the side of their neck, blah, 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 blah. You know, their necks is, talking out, oh, sorry. That's probably like the worst term I've probably ever used. And I can't believe I just said that. But it's true, and I run into a lot of people that do that. Oh, it's almost another reseller joke right there. Right. Anyway, you guys can clearly see that, and I hate to keep throwing it out there, but again, whether it's resellers online or resellers in Facebook groups or resellers on reseller blogs or other resellers that you run into in your area, Everybody knows a little bit. It's the ones that profess to know a whole lot, but there's no measure of success. Those are the ones that I want to talk to them. I'm drawn in because it's the fixer in me. But I don't want to fix them. Seeing their problems, understanding those struggles, fixes all the little holes, all the little things that are wrong all over me. That's what I want to fix. Because then I take that and I go to the office and I fix all these problems. And, well, a whole bunch of us are friends now. And as you guys send emails to me, and I'm trying very hard to respond and trying to respond to all the comments, I provide whatever insight I can. I got another email last night about, I said I'm continually learning and not making the same mistakes. And the email said something to the effect of, blah, 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 I don't really think you know what you're talking about. And I said, well, how would I answer that? How do I know how to answer? You didn't really make a question, it was more of a statement. Fairly insulting, I gotta be honest. I think you're insulting me, but I can't really tell, because it really wasn't like overly insulting enough where you go, well, I was just really insulted by that. It was more of a, so I had to think about it and say, well, I read a book about it. Does that mean I know something about it? And then I think, I've actually read a lot of books about a lot of things. So, for whomever you were in your anonymous email, I can read. Sometimes I can't do a whole bunch of math. I can do math very well, thank you, yeah. But I do read a lot. And reading is a big part of what we do, to understand the ever-changing role that we assume within ourselves and our business, our relationships. Business and relationships go hand in hand. If you cannot manage your own time and your own business, how could you ever possibly manage a relationship? Yeah, well, there's two people in a relationship. There are. And each one is managing their side. Well, that's called a partnership. And that's what we refer to it, whether it's a marriage or a business partnership, because I saw a few people talking about partnerships and how things went bad, or roommates that you don't speak to anymore. That is right. And that is a process of learning and growth, psychologically, emotionally, everything. Becoming whole, be able to deal with it. When someone's doing something that you don't like, I classify these things that are annoyances. Can they be overlooked? Are they bad habits? Can I help you overcome that? As one of my employees, there's a lot of things that annoy me. That could have been done better. It could have been done more efficiently. Well, that's just from my point of view, from where I'm standing, but from where this guy's standing, he thought for sure he was doing it the best of his ability. Well, it didn't turn out to be the right way. There's like a right way, a wrong way, their way, my way. I like the right way. It's not even about my way, because I could easily mess something up too. So I have to look at how would the next big guy do it, right? So then I look at the next big guy, I see how they do it, and then I go, well, it's like getting a second opinion. I'm not going to take that first opinion either. I'm going to look at how the next biggest guy does it. Well, at some point, I'm going to go through 3 or 4 or 5 of these people that are all doing the similar job or function, and figure out how they're doing it and see how close we can get to that. Because on the scale, they could be really, really huge, and so there's a lot of people that does this one job, so then I have to break that job down into how would it function if one person followed a conveyor belt along, processing material until we get to the end. Could one person do that, or does it require a team of people? And then I have to break that down. So this is what I do all day, is determine a more efficient way to do it. And then it really comes down to, am I right or not? Well, maybe I got to read a book to see if I'm right. Or maybe I'll go watch some videos. And after I go watch a whole bunch of these videos, I'm pretty confident I'm right. I like being right. And if I'm still not right, I'm still doing it better than they are. And then the next guy comes along and goes, Dave, you know there's an easier way to do that. I'm all ears. I put my ear cups on and I'm listening. Stuart comes along and he's like, you know, this is how you can do this. This is how we do it. Gosh, you got a $50 million company. I think you might know something. So I try it. I'm like, wow, that works really well. Trying something the next bigger guy does could help, or it'll hinder you. Because if you were following somebody that was, say, dyslexic and they were reading everything backwards, then you might hurt yourself. So you take everything with a grain of salt and you say, that makes sense, and you try to implement some part of it. There's no exact science. It's the same with purchasing material to resell. The things that you see, I may not see. We could be in the same store at the same time. There could be 20 of us in the same store at the same time. There might be one overlapping piece of material that we all go, that'd be good. Well, he's already got it, so it doesn't matter. One thing. Now we get hung up on that one thing. Oh my gosh, I can't believe that guy got that. I've heard that story too. I don't. There's plenty of material out there. We all see it differently. Those are the keys to success. When you're buying in bulk and you can buy 10,000 of one thing, you're just competing in a market with 10,000 of your closest friends who are trying to all sell the same thing because they don't want to be bothered doing all the listing. And that's what's so fantastic about used clothes is the chances of ending up with the same exact thing that 20 other people have are slim. It's relatively small. And that's why you can make such good money on it. Finding a source of used clothes is proving to be a little bit more of a challenge for some people. But you work on it. There are ways to buy brand new clothes, as I've discussed in previous videos, that you can sell. There are also ways that once your business gets big enough, you can go to those corporate wholesalers and purchase the seasonal change items. Whether it's the TJ Maxx Group. TJ Maxx Group owns Rosh and Marshalls. They're all one. And you can go to the wholesalers when they're doing the seasonal change outs, because that stuff doesn't go to anybody else. It goes into their warehouse, and then next year they'll bring it back out. Unless somehow that fashion was to go out of style within that period. But most of the time it doesn't. A polo's a polo. Right? Some of this stuff is year-round, some of it's not. And when bathing suits get pulled off the shelves, it goes in the warehouse until just before next spring. So through the winter, you could easily make a call and go, I want to buy 10,000 bathing suits. I mean, that's the problem with that. So as much as everybody wants me to go, hey, where do you go and buy all this material? There's still the point where you have to grow into that. Maybe you've got a way to go and, mortgage your house or something, or pull a big old credit line and you think you're ready. But until you've got enough employees to handle that amount of material, you're not going to be ready. You got to have the people, the procedures, the policies. You got to have the room for it. You don't want to go getting yourself all hung up when you weren't prepared. I was there not too long ago. I was not prepared. 5 years was not that long ago when I decided I'm going to go big time and pull in tractor trailer loads of material, and it was quite enlightening very, very quickly. I'm not saying I'm doing any of this right, but I am making money. This is Drive Time. I'm Dave. I am the driver. I'll see you soon.